one of the worst things you can do is fear being alone, because like when you're afraid of being alone, then you're going to settle for anything, like people, places, situations, relationships that absolutely do not serve you. But when you learn how to be alone, it's actually going to be one of your greatest superpowers that you can have. And so today I'm going to break down the difference between being alone and feeling lonely, and how you can actually start to enjoy your own company right now, which is something that we should all strive to do. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Onika Coleman. I'm an entrepreneur, a speaker, a founder. And on this channel, we talk about all things personal growth, confidence, faith, helping you step into the best version of yourself. And so if that sounds like something that you need, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we are absolutely on this journey together. Okay. So first of all, we have to understand the difference between being alone and feeling lonely. And being alone is actually a physical state, and feeling lonely is an emotional state. So you can be surrounded by so many people and still feel lonely. And then the opposite is true. You can like be alone and feel completely at peace. So think about it. If you're on an island by yourself, you are actually alone on that island. Like physically, you're alone on that island. Nobody is there with you. But if you start to think and wonder in your mind, oh my gosh, I'm lonely because I want other people around me. I need to feel the presence of somebody. That is the state of being lonely. And so that's an emotional state, right? It's a natural desire for us to want to be around other human beings, because we are social, emotional creatures. And so that's the difference, being by yourself, alone in a physical state, and then having an emotional desire to be around other people. That's when you start to feel lonely. And then loneliness can also come from you, if you're not like feeling connected to yourself, to your purpose, or to something greater, then there you tend to feel lonely because you feel like you're not contributing in a way, in a meaningful way. And so you feel like in your mind, you're all by yourself. And so what's the goal in all of this? The goal is, to shift from, I need somebody around me to feel okay, from feeling like, okay, these people have to be around me for me to feel like myself, for me to feel like I'm enjoying life, and then switch to I am enough within myself. Like I can be sitting here at a restaurant eating by myself. I can go to the movies by myself. I can go shopping by myself and be okay and be at peace. That's the state of being physically alone, but not being lonely, because you are supporting yourself and you don't need a crowd, or you don't need people around you to validate you or to make you feel like you're worth living, or like like your existence is worth something, like having people around you, if that makes sense. So that's why it's so important for us to get to that state of feeling enough by ourselves. And then most people, they like to run from themselves, and they don't embrace their true selves. But when you start to embrace who you are and be alone and to sit in it and to reflect, like that's when solitude becomes a part of your life, and you become like unshakable, because at that point you don't need anybody to help you propel you on your life mission. It's already within you. And when you're in solitude, that's when the real growth happens, because it allows you to reflect, it allows you to grow, it allows you to discover who you are, like what's your purpose in this world, what goals are you trying to achieve. Like all of those things are accomplished when you are alone and you're in solitude, but you're not feeling lonely. And then when it comes to like relationships, friendships, business partnerships, like all the things, when you're bringing other people into your space, those relationships dwell and do the best when you are whole already on your own and you don't need other people to complete you. And so, how sometimes you have some people that'll get in a relationship and then they get out, and then they get in one, then they're out. And it's like, dang, they can't stay single. And it's because they don't want to be alone, because they feel lonely and they feel like they have to have somebody else to complete them, instead of sitting with themselves, learning themselves, figuring out the things that make them happy, what make them sad, what brings them joy, like all the things, instead of using that time to grow and to amplify their lives in a positive way. they jump back in relationships because they're lonely. That is like the most unhealthiest way to live, because you're looking to other people to be fulfilled. And you'll never be completely fulfilled if you're always looking to other people and not being totally okay looking within and being okay, with yourself and what you have to offer and bring to the table. Like, you have to know that what you have to offer is enough, and that anything and everything else is uh just a plus, it's just an added bonus. But you have to be so secure in you that even when you're alone, you don't allow the feeling of loneliness to take over you, because again, that's when you start to settle. And we don't want to settle, because we are God's most amazing, beautiful beings and creatures. And He did not create us to settle. He created us to live a nice, fruitful, healthy life. So here's a few tips on, if you feel alone, how you can change the narrative. So instead of saying I'm alone and I'm by myself, say I have time to do what I want without distraction. Like, when you change it and see it as something positive, as if you have control over it, then you won't have time to see it as a negative. Like, you'll see, like, I have time to be by myself, to not be distracted by anybody else. And so, therefore, I am not lonely. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. Then you want to find a solo hobby. Find something that you enjoy doing. Like, if it's painting, working out, reading, journaling, going on a date solo. Fall in love with something that brings you the greatest joy, because then you can do that thing day in and day out and be alone and never feel lonely a day in your life. Like, for me right now, I'm working out. Like, this is something that over the last 30 days I found, oh y'all, I'm so winded. I found to be my joy. And I'm alone right now. Nobody is out here with me. It's just me, nature, Holy Spirit, and birds. Okay. And I don't feel lonely. I feel I feel like there's so much gratefulness and gratitude and joy surrounding me, that even though I'm alone, I don't feel lonely. And so that's the beauty of finding something that you like, and like that you enjoy doing, a hobby to you. Don't pick up what anybody else is doing. Like, this is not about anybody else. This is about you. And so find that thing and go all in it, and then during that time, again, you're going to be able to be doing something creative you love, but you're going to also learn so much about yourself along the way. And when you do this is how you build your confidence. This is how you build up your standards and your boundaries, because now you're saying, okay, I can accomplish and do hard things on my own. I don't need anybody else. Other people are just a plus, but it's not a necessity. And so find something that you enjoy doing and do it, because you owe yourself that. Like, you owe yourself that much, and then be present with yourself. And when I say be present with yourself, I mean really be present with yourself. Don't just exist. Don't just go through the motions of life. Don't just go through your routines day in and day out. Be present with yourself. Most of the time, like, we like to use TV, social media, or other people as distractions to avoid ourselves and to avoid looking within. And let me tell you, especially heavy on the social media in this day and time. I'm currently on a social media fast. I haven't been on social media since last year, 2024. It's been the absolute best thing for my mental health. Like, I don't want to come back. That's just how good it's been. But TVs, social media, all that stuff are distractions from keeping us from, looking within for ourselves, especially if you're somebody who's desiring personal growth, personal development, and all the things. And so just try to be intentional about finding some sort of silence, getting by yourself, sitting with your thoughts, see what comes up. What dreams and goals and visions do you have? Do you want to achieve in life? When those thoughts come up, create a solid plan. Sit with yourself, create a goal list or a vision sheet for yourself. Give yourself tasks. Check it off day at a time, because visions, we all know, big dreams don't happen overnight. It's a process, it's a journey. So you have to How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you have to check it off. But the only way you can know how to achieve your goals and what to work towards is if you visualize it and if you write it down, if you document your journey, and if you just document the process and give yourself, tasks to complete so that you can know that you're moving forward in a healthy manner. And so get by yourself, get silent, listen to your thoughts, your inner thoughts, because they're going to lead you, they're going to guide you. Meditate, pray, and ask God to show you the next steps. Like, what is it that you want to do? Ask Him to show you the way. One scripture that I've been meditating on, Jeremiah 33:3, call to me and I will tell you great things that you call to me and I will tell you and show you great and unsearchable things that you do not know. And so we don't know everything. We don't have to know everything, but there's a God who does. And all we have to do is call out to him and tell him that, hey, this is what's on the table. You help me, you show me the way. So get silent, get in solitude, and get to know you. And then also get comfortable doing things alone. I know in today's time, like that can be a difficult thing to do, to like do things alone, like intentionally, like do things alone. You see a lot of people who go on a girl trip or family vacations and they usually go in a pack. But the thing is, when you do things alone and you're intentional, you build yourself up to say, okay, this is something that, I decided to do, and it's not so bad after all. After a while, you're going to find yourself actually enjoying it, and you're going to want to start doing a lot of things alone yourself. So take yourself out to eat. After you watch this video, if you haven't ate yet, go to your favorite restaurant, sit down, order your meal, and, you know, talk to you and God. Let him be the person on the other side, right? Enjoy your meal in peace. And just that's all there is to it. Go for a walk. I'm walking right now. Again, travel alone if you can. Explore the world by yourself. Like, you don't have to wait on anybody else. Sometimes we wait for people to get their coins together and to take their time off. And we, use it as an excuse to say, well, oh, so and so, they can't go, so I'm not going to go. No, pack your bags, get up, and take the trip. Go solo. You deserve it. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The more that you realize that you don't need the constant company of other people, the quicker you'll make your way to happiness. You will see that that's where happiness exists. Because again, anytime you're in control and you're calling the shots on your own life and you don't need other people, that's where you're going to find happiness, because you don't have nothing hanging over your head. You ain't got nobody that you got to answer to. You answer to yourself, okay? I'm telling you, that's where the peace resides. That's where the happiness resides. And then another thing, turn loneliness into connection. So if you feel lonely, turn it into connection. Ask yourself, am I lonely for connection, or am I just avoiding myself? Like, what's the answer to that? Like, and if you need connection, like if you're somebody who just want connection and you truly are lonely, call a friend, talk to a friend, serve people. This is one thing and one area that is sure to take away your loneliness. If you show up and contribute to others, if you serve others, it's going to make you feel useful. And so it's impossible to feel lonely when you're serving other people. Engage in your community. Do something like, again, the perfect example. I've been going on these walks every single day alone. But as a result of going on these walks, I've met so many neighbors that I've been able to engage with in my community, stop having fruitful, amazing conversations with. And it's been so beautiful. And so even though I'm alone on my walk, the loneliness is not there, because I have a friend, comrades that just show up and we have a conversation, So it's up to you to change your mindset and your environment to say, I'm not lonely. And if I am lonely, what can I do to change it? Because at the end of the day, we hold the key to our own lives. We don't have to stay in something that's not serving us. We don't have to experience or have a feeling of something that's not serving us. We just have to figure out, okay, what's the solution, and go out and do it. And serving and engaging is actually one of the ways that you can feel less lonely. And speaking of being alone, your alone time is where you actually build confidence. That is where confidence is built through and through, because when you spend time by yourself, you start to hear your own voice so much louder, so much clearer. Again, you don't have the voices of TV and the news and social media and everybody else highlight reels and stories and perspectives and opinions and thoughts. No, you have the chance to hone in onto your own voice. Your voice get louder than the world. It get louder than all the noise around you. And when your voice gets louder and clear, you can trust you. Like, if you can't trust anybody else, you can trust you. And so get alone so you can hear your voice. You start to begin to develop trust in yourself as well. Your self-trust level go up, your confidence level goes up, and you start to say, okay, I can do this. And you just start to be a little bit more gentle with yourself, a lot more kind, a lot more believing in yourself, because that's something that you cultivated, and that's something that you can cultivate. All you gotta do is get along. Listen, go in the closet, close the door, shut yourself in if you got to, open the word, read the word, meditate on that, journal, sit down and write your thoughts, how you felt for today, your plans for next week, your goals, like all those things. Just getting along and hearing your voice, man, it changes the atmosphere. So don't count yourself out, because your voice carries a lot of weight, and your voice can actually make or break your own life. Trust me, you just gotta, it's a muscle. Work your way up to it. Build yourself up so that you can be your biggest confidant, your biggest encourager. You can be everything that you need within, but like I said, it's like exercise. You just have to build yourself and work yourself up to become that person. And then also, it helps you to focus less on outside validation. Like, when you start to trust and believe in yourself more, like, you can care less what anybody else has to say and whether somebody else validates you or not. Like, the need for recognition, the need for validation goes out the door, because you're focused on you. And so I think that's one of the most beautiful things about it, is because a lot of us suffer with the need for validation. And then if we don't get it, we feel like, we haven't contributed to society, or we just don't feel worthy. And that's like the worst way to be. First of all, is to expect other people to build you up and to validate you, because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's our own personal responsibility. So when you can come to, the point to where you're able to build yourself up and to validate yourself, that's where you're going to become more happy and peaceful, because you can live your life not worrying about, the outside things. And you won't feel lonely in that regards, because you know that you're validated. You know that you can uplift yourself. And so at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. So listen, I know being alone can feel, very scary at first, but when you start enjoying your own company, trust me, you're going to realize that you were never really alone to begin with. You always had yourself. You always had a best friend in you. And the caveat to that is that when you love yourself fully, when you love yourself wholeheartedly, that's when the right people come. That's when the right opportunities just sprout out the middle of nowhere. That's when the right relationships start to align. That's when your life starts to just really take off and look so fruitful, because you've mastered the inner being of being alone and not to being lonely. So I hope this video was super helpful for you and you received some type of gem from it. But I do want to hear from you. Like, what is one thing that you love doing alone? Like, if you are doing something alone, what is something that you absolutely love doing alone? And then also, what is something that you would love to do alone that you're afraid to do and that you haven't done it yet? Whatever that thing is, I want to encourage you to just do it. Try it. Baby steps. Dip your pinky toe in and then work your way up to your big toe. And by the time you get to your big toe, you're gonna be like, dang, I should have done this sooner. So drop them in the comments and let me know. I read every last one of my comments. I appreciate y'all so much. And if this video helped you in any way, please go ahead and like it, subscribe, turn on your notifications so that we can keep growing together in our confidence and in our faith and in life and becoming the best versions of ourselves. And so until next time, keep the faith.